Hey, it's Tish Griffin coming to you again with Family Credit Management Services, and I am your certified credit counselor here to answer any questions that you may have regarding debt, regarding finances, regarding any types of issues. Now, if you don't get the answers that you need right here, you can always reach out to Family Credit on their website at familycredit.org or call 800-994-3328 and talk directly with a live counselor that can help you with your situation. So finances is something that, has always been a part of my life, probably always a part of your life as well, but it's not something that we talk about a lot. And so I wanted to touch on a few things that I'm noticing that I'm getting from those that I counsel, those that are coming to me for help. And I wanted to bring those things to you because you may be going through it and not know where to get help. And one of the things that we want to always be prevalent or mindful of is that when you go through something, when you get those calls from your creditors, you don't know what to do, that there's resources out there, there's help out there. First off, things have changed a lot, and we're not dealing with huge creditor harassment before, and so like before. So today we want to talk about just a few of those things. We're seeing different changes in the industry. Our credit is always changing. Our credit score is always changing. And how do we know exactly what to do and what's best for us? There's so many different models. We don't know whether we're looking at the FICO model or do we go to the credit bureaus? What's going on? So we're going to touch on some of those as well. Now, keep in mind, if you are looking to pull your credit, the best place that you can go is to annualcreditreport.com. And you may say, hey, I see Credit Karma out there. I see all these credit Sesame. I see my credit card statements. They tell me that I can get my score. Why can't I just do that? Why do you always say annualcreditreport.com? The answer is simple. Annualcreditreport.com is the one place that connects all of the three bureaus together in one spot for you to get your report. Now, the three bureaus that we use are Equifax, TransUnion, and Experian. TransUnion is the bureau that's most used here in the Midwest, so I always recommend if you are going to pull your report, start with the TransUnion report. With annualcreditreport.com, you can get a free credit report, your actual report. We're not even talking about the score. We're talking about the report that you need to look through. And it's important that you do this at least 3 times a year. So go to annualcreditreport.com. You'll have access to TransUnion, Experian, Equifax, and you can pull off those reports. Now, you can get them all at one time, but I always recommend spacing them out. Since it's 3 reports, then go in every few months, every 3 to 4 months, and pull a new report. And then once you go through it, you look at it, then you can go ahead and pull another one. And you may say, well, wouldn't they all have the same information? The answer is quite frankly, no, they are all different. Now, they're around the same. They really are. But keep in mind, not all of that information is the same. I've had people ask me, say, well, why is it that I get 1 score from TransUnion, 1 score from Equifax, and 1 score from Experian? None of this information matches. And that's because each one is their own private sector. And in order for those, not all creditors report to them. That's why they're all different. And you may say, well, they need to start reporting. I want you to know our little secret, right? In order for a creditor to report to a credit bureau, they've got to be a member of that credit bureau. And so that's why all of this information is different on each report. Now, most major creditors, they report to all 3 bureaus. But we've got some smaller mom and pop finance companies. We've got collection agencies. We've got, different companies that can't really afford to report like that. So they may choose one bureau. And a lot of times you may see that, Equifax has all the collection agencies listed because guess what? They've got the better deal to belong to Equifax. They have to belong somewhere, so they picked Equifax. So that's why you'll see that everything is different. But if you work on one, it should definitely impact the other. So we want to see that we're making things better by starting with your TransUnion report and seeing what that score is and what the actual report is. Now, when you go to annualcreditreport.com, you are able to get your credit report for free. Sometimes you may have to pay a little bit extra to get that score, but I guarantee you if you start working on your report, your actual report itself, you'll see that score continue to increase. Credit scores typically range from 350 to 850, and they each one's different. They change over time. So when you're looking at that report, it's important to make sure that even though you know what your number is, you know the information on the report and how it's reported. Because, yeah, things can be reported inaccurately. You can get some accounts that's on your report that aren't yours. They can be mixed with other family members, with someone else with a similar name. There's a lot of different reasons why your score or your report may be low. The only way for you to find out, though, is for you to actually pay attention and look at your actual report and start there. Now, when you go through your report, you'll see that that report has your identifying information on it. That's the first thing you see. Name, address, if you got old phone numbers, old addresses, and the report should list at least 5 of your most recent addresses. And this is information that those creditors are using to look you up. Now you may say, hey, looks like the address that I used to live on, but it's spelled differently. Something's wrong here. My name is spelled incorrectly. Guess what? That information gets there because it's updated from either creditors that you do business with or those creditors that are trying to find you, and they're submitting your information that way. So it's important that you look at it, and if something's wrong, you want to go through a process called dispute. You do want to dispute that item saying that, hey, this is wrong. That's what a dispute does. And you have the power to dispute that. You can dispute little things like my name is spelled wrong to this is not my account. That's the purpose of it. Keep in mind that when you dispute an item, what's going to happen is you're telling that creditor something's wrong and I need you to fix it. That creditor will receive your dispute, and now they have 15 days to get back to you. Now, that's just for them to get back to you. It didn't say it was for them to fix it completely. After that, the creditor will work on your issue. They'll let you know at the end of 30 days that they fixed the issue or they need more time to resolve it. And then they'll get back to you again once it's actually resolved. Once that dispute is over, on your credit report, that item will reflect, if it is in what's called the trade section, it'll reflect that this item has been disputed by the customer, it was found to be valid, or customer doesn't agree with the decision. One of those. Now, again, this mark stays on your report. Now, I want you to remember that. I'm driving this point really importantly because a lot of people don't realize just how this little mark can affect things for you in the future. Anytime you're disputing an item and you're done with that dispute, I want you to call the credit bureaus directly and have them remove that disputed item. Here's why. Anytime something is in dispute on your credit report, it's not factored into your credit score at all. That means a lot of times your credit looks better when it's really not. You've got this mask on it. That dispute mark puts a mask on your credit. And so, which leads me to our next section, we see a lot of people that are talking about they want to go through credit repair. They need to get their credit fixed. Well, what does that actually do? Again, most credit repair places that are out there, all they do is dispute the item for you on your credit report. Keep in mind, while that dispute's happening, it's not factored into your score. So what does that mean? Your score looks better. You used to have a 598, but you put that item in dispute and now you have a 650. Problem with that is that dispute's going to be over soon. And then once that dispute is over, 2 things are going to happen. Either the creditor will say that that debt is valid or it's not valid. If it's not valid, they'll remove it and then your score should be perfectly fine. You should maintain a high credit score. But if that debt is valid and it is yours, you may be disputing the balance, you may be disputing that you have that account, whatever that dispute is, once that dispute is over, it's going to show on your record. And it's going to say that, hey, this really is this person's debt. We found that it is their debt. They need to pay it. And you've got that mask that was on there showing that nice 650 score that you just thought that you worked hard to get to, is going to drop. And it's going to drop lower and lower because now this is your real score. So if you had an account and you said it wasn't yours, you disputed it, and that mask came off, well, now it's a fully verified debt, which could bring your score lower than you even thought possible. Another thing why you don't want to do a dispute unless it really is a valid dispute, like you know for a fact it's not your account or something's actually wrong on it, then you want to dispute the item. But other than that, it really does have an effect on you, because now let's say you go to get a loan, and mortgage loans are known for doing this. If you have a dispute showing up on your credit report and you go to get a mortgage loan, most likely that lender cannot approve you until you take those disputes off. If you got more than one dispute going and the balance is still showing on your credit report, they're going to need you to take that dispute off. So again, you thought you had a 650 score, you're going to get a house, they take that dispute off, now your score drops, you can't get the house. So that is why it's really important that if you've got those disputes, you want to make sure that you have that item removed, and then you work on rebuilding your credit after that. Remember, your credit score only looks at the last 24 months worth of history, right? So you can start today on your own without going to someone or trying to do what's a quick fix. Credit repair, all of those entities out there, they're quick fix. But if you need some help repaying your debt, reach out to Family Credit Management. They can go over your situation, look at your budget, look at your creditors, look at your collections, and help you set up a repayment so that you can get out of debt. And that's what we want. We want debt-free living for the future. We don't want the stress of dealing with credit cards or dealing with collection agencies. All of those things help weigh us down, and we want to be free of that. So the way for you to do it, start now. Start small. It doesn't take a lot. Again, 2-3 months from now, if you're doing the work now, your credit's going to be a little bit better. And it's a slow process. Now, keep that in mind. I'm not saying everything's going to be okay overnight. You didn't get into this situation overnight, and you're definitely not going to get out of it overnight. So that's why you sit down, you take some time, you look through these things on your own, and then if you do need help, there's help out there. There's guidance out there. There are certified credit counselors out there that can help you through this, and there are different approaches that you can take. You can also reach out, look at the Federal Trade, the consumerfinance.gov's website. And there's some great information on dealing with creditors there. You can go to Family Credit's website and learn the process. Look up some information, how to deal with those creditors. There's resources available. Now, there are places out there that make it seem like it's too good to be true. I can get you like the best credit score. You can have a 700 score overnight. And yes, they probably can, because again, all the items are in dispute. They're not factored into your credit score, so everything is looking good until that dispute time is over. Now, where a lot of people mess up is they're paying out hundreds and hundreds of dollars for a quick credit repair. But guess what? You could actually be putting that money on your debt and bringing it down, restoring your credit the right way. And again, 24 months worth of history, 6 months from now, you're going to look stellar if you take the small steps that we suggest here, that we share in these videos for you to actually do this on your own. Be careful when you're out there. You don't want to get scammed. You don't want to fall victims to a scam. And you don't want to think that you're doing something. It's a quick fix. You'll get this done in a minute. But the damage that it does after you've paid out the money, after you've paid out the thousands and thousands of dollars, that damage is far more extensive than if you were to try and do it on your own or with the help of a certified credit counselor. And it's not easy to do, but you can do it. Do your research, reach out to a counselor, talk to a counselor. And, if you need any help, you can reach out, send those questions over, let us know what it is that you need help with or what you feel that we should do more videos on as well. So you can reach out to Family Credit, go to Family Credit's website, familycredit.org. And you want to make sure, again, that you're just taking care of yourselves, that you are an aware consumer, knowing what you're getting yourselves into. Now, we talked about our credit score, where to get the credit report, and there are other tools out there that will help us monitor those reports. So there are a few that we see all the time on our credit card statements. People use Credit Karma. People use Mint. There are so many Credit Sesame, those tools that are out there. Now you may say, I looked at that and I saw that my score was high, but then I had my score pulled. I went into the car dealership to try and get a car, and that's not what my score is at all. You might say, well, man, Credit Karma does not have the right information a lot of times. Now they're getting better. They're working on trying to get things together. But guess what? They're not the credit bureaus. The best place for your accurate information is directly from the credit bureaus themselves. Now, when you go to Credit Karma or you use Credit Sesame or any of those other tools like on your credit card statements, that sort of thing, the problem with doing that is that that information is coming from a reseller. And I want you to use this to monitor your situation, not to think that it's gospel. So when I say that, that information that comes through is not the credit bureaus themselves, meaning that they have to go to the credit bureaus, get that information, and then the credit bureaus feeds it back to them. By the time they get it to you, that information could be outdated. Now, of course, yes, it shows up just like that every time a new account is open, every time a collection agency comes on. But the actual information is not really updated to make it accurate for you until a month later. Keep that in mind as you go through things and you're thinking about this. That's why I say you use those tools to monitor your situation. And keep in mind that if you are looking to get a home, an auto loan, anything like that, yes, you may see those scores on those tools, but they could be 20 to 30 to even 40 points off. So if you see that you have a 640, maybe let's say, okay, on this app, I'm going to apply for a car when my score says 700. And then when you go, you'll know that that score is good enough to get you what you need. It only takes a little bit more work. And how do we do that? We make sure that our minimum balances are paid. You want to make sure that you're at least paying the minimums each and every single month. If you can make your more than that, that's really going to help you. And that's going to improve your score as well. Because now when you make your minimum payments are designed to keep you in debt for years. And it's great to make your minimum payments because a huge portion of your score is based on your minimum payments. But if you're looking to do this and get out of debt, you got to throw a little bit more towards everything. One rule of thumb that I always say that you can do is look at the creditor that's charging you the highest interest. Now, you may say, why that? Keep in mind, you can look at the creditor with the highest interest, or I'm going to say this as well, the creditor with the smallest balance. So let's say you're looking at your budget. The bills that you pay out on your credit card each and every single month are $100. But you notice in your budget, you've got $300 extra. So you want to take all of those payments, paying those out, making your minimum payments, and you want to pick the one with the highest interest. And you want to add a little bit extra, just a little bit extra each and every single month. And this is called the snowball effect. And I recommend this because I've used it countless and countless times. It's a great method for getting out of debt because it decreases the time significantly. And that's what we want. We want to see you living debt free. But keep in mind, as you get closer and closer to your balances, you want to keep those accounts in good standing. Make sure you're making your payments each and every single month. Keep those accounts open. Don't close an account unless you know you don't want to deal with that creditor. Anytime an account closes, it does affect your credit. That's because that account's no longer there. So you may say, hey, I have an auto loan. It's going to be paid off in 2 months. I paid it. I never missed a payment. It's looking good. You go and you pay that account off. 2 months later, you notice that your score has decreased. Why is that? That account is no longer there. It's no longer strengthening your score. So now you need something new because that installment loan is gone. That's why they say that when you're looking to build your credit, you're looking to build your score, credit cards are the best way to do that because it's a revolving line. An installment loan has a set date. When you pay it off, that's it. But when you're looking at credit cards, you can play around with your levels, with your balances. You know what your credit limit is. You want to make sure that you stay under your credit limit at all times. If you can go under 50% of your credit limit, great. If you can do 30%, even better. That keeps your score stronger. And a lot of people say, oh, I try and go under 30%. But you want to know something? They say that the people with the highest credit score only use 7% of their available credit. 7%. So that means if you've got a $100 credit card, you're only using about $7. Just putting that out there as an example. And some people say, well, with my credit, I want to continue to use it, but I need my score. But I don't want to use my credit. There's so many different variations. Keep in mind, credit is a game, and it's all in what you What's your end goal? Where do you want to be in the end? And so you want to keep these things in mind. Some people don't want to make the minimum payment. Some people want to pay everything off each and every single month, but you want to even make sure when you're doing that and you're paying things off, you want to do this with your best interest at heart. So you want to know what your due dates are. You want to know also, when does the creditor report to the credit bureau? That's really important. So keep this in mind. Let's say you got a credit card and you want to pay that off each and every single month. And you do. You're making great payments on it. You use it. You may use like $500 and you go ahead and you pay it off like that. Well, what happens? By the time that account reports to the credit bureau, it shows that you're not using any available credit. You're not using any available credit. Guess what? Now your credit is stagnant. And so you can't get your score to increase. You got perfect history, but you don't understand why your score won't increase. And this is just one of those small things that affect us, and we have no idea why. So they say if you're looking to get your credit up, what do you want to do? You want to use it. You want to show that you can use it. Creditors want to see that you're going to use the money that you get them. And you may say, well, isn't that counteractive? I want to be debt free. And yes, you do want to be debt free. But also you want to be able to handle credit responsibly. And that is the key. So when you're thinking about, well, should you pay this off? Should you keep this open? Should you close it? Keep in mind, every time you close an account, that account's gone. It doesn't do you any good. And yes, with installment loans, they are going to come to an end. And now I'm not saying go out there and get another car. I'm saying do something else that will jolt your credit and make sure that your score is maintained. You can get another credit card. You can just leave things like they are and play around with your credit cards. One thing that I would recommend, some people do balance transfers. They may transfer one credit card from one to the other, depending on what the rates are. You want to keep that in mind too. Know what your rates are. Know how much you're paying in your finance charges each and every single month and how much it actually is. Some people say, oh, well, I've got a 30% interest rate. I see my credit card at 25% interest rate. I've got a 6% interest rate. But what does that mean to you? What does that mean in actual dollars? Do you know how much is coming off of your balance each and every single month? And sometimes we don't even pay attention to the method that they're using to take that money from us. So you want to make sure, I always say, keep it so that you understand. I know that I have this credit card. I make a $20 payment each and every single month. The interest on my account, $13 each and every single month. So are you really getting out of debt? That means only $7 is going towards your actual principal, because you've got so much going towards interest. So you want to even look at your finance charges. Don't just know what your rate is. Your rate means nothing if you don't know what that is in actual dollars and how it relates to you and your budget. Again, if you need some help, reach out to a counselor, Family Credit, at 800-994-3328, or go online. Talk to a counselor directly at familycredit.org. You can chat directly with the counselor. You can say, hey, I've got this credit card. Is this a good rate? What should I do? Is there a way to bring it down? You know, there are options out there. You just need to be able to ask for the help and guidance that you need. So you want to make sure that when things are starting to go wrong, you get the help right away. The counselors are there for that. And you want to be diligent when you're looking at your credit score and you're paying your bills as well. It all works together. It's all the process. Your goals that we talk about all the time, your budget, your spending plan, how much you're bringing in, how much you are paying your expenses, and what you have left. The goal is to be able to have a nice, pretty number at the end. But you also need to have a nice, pretty credit score to match. Again, with a range of 350 to 850, most people keep their scores in the 600s. But you can do a little bit better than that each and every single month. And if taking those small steps, even when something happens and your score goes shooting down, yes, you can make it better for yourselves each and every single month. Just try a little bit more. Start by getting that report from annualcreditreport.com, taking a look at everything that is there. If you do not understand it, a counselor, Family Credit, can go over that with you as well. So again, 800-994-3328. You can reach out to a counselor and get the help that you need, get the advice that you need. There's other resources out there as well. Do your research. And with those companies that are saying, hey, we can help you get a pretty credit score real fast, don't fall for it. Yes, it may look pretty up front, but it's going to do more damage to you in the end. So if you've got any questions, feel free send over any questions that you may have towards this show, and we can address those as well. Again, we look forward to hearing from you. And again, go to Family Credit's website, 800-994-3328, familycredit.org. Download the Personal Finance Made Easy. Get a copy of your My Spending Plan. And there's some great tools that Family Credit will mail out to you for free. So, I want you to take a look at that. And if there's anything that we can do to help you, feel free to reach out. Now, if you've got any other questions, email those over too, and we will see you again next time. Take care.